Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Obsessive Compulsive Gaming. I am the Obsessive Compulsive Gamer.
And I am Bertrum.
And I am Professor Charles Waldman.
And this is our review for The Phantom. I'm too sexy for my shirt, too sexy for my shirt, so sexy, yeah. I'm too sexy for this game, too sexy for this game, too sexy, yeah. So dear viewer, The Phantom released for my beloved PlayStation 5 quite recently, not to be confused with The Phantom of the Opera, The Phantom Menace, The Phantom Pain, The Phantom of the Whorehouse. Did you know, dear viewers, that my great-aunt Philomena opened the first brothel on Minge Lane all the way back in 1911?
Oh!
Yes, but we're not here to talk about that. We are here to discuss the Phantom. And just like that beautiful bearded bastard Barry Burton, you're probably wondering,
what is this? What is it? What is this?
The Phantom is an action-adventure beat-em-up game thing, starring the very first superhero to ever wear a skin-tight suit, the Phantom, a character that was created all the way back in 1936. A year I remember fondly as the year over 5,000 people died in a dreadful heat wave. Ha ha!
Yes, better them than me, I always say.
Oh yes, Professor, true story. Now, the Phantom has graced comic strips, television screens. There was a splendid movie in 1996 starring the very attractive Billy Zane. You might even remember the cartoon Phantom 2040, which had its own video game on the Super Nintendo machine, if I'm remembering correctly. Ha ha! Good times. The story for this game sees the Phantom and his charming wife rushing off to rescue their son, who has been kidnapped by an evil dickhead, or some such nonsense. So you'll make your way through 15 stages, beating up enemies, and at no point will you say, "Gosh, this is kind of like Streets of Rage, with less streetwalkers." Ha! What am I saying? Of course you'll think that. Let's review this superhero video game the only way I know how. Badly. And let's start with what I liked about the Phantom. Oh, speaking of things I like it when you subscribe to the channel, so do that for me, dear viewer. Doing so will allow me to live out my lifelong dream of having 1,143 subscribers. The first thing I simply must commend the Phantom for is simply existing. Like I said, the last time we got a video game starring this chap in the oh-so-tight trousers was back in bloody 1995. But that game was a Metroidvania, whereas this new game is a beat-em-up that in no way resembles Streets of Rage, Mayhem Brawler, or 1,234 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles video games. And rest assured, dear viewers, this is a good one. The gameplay is simple, intuitive, and fun while it lasts. The visuals are nice, hand-drawn and everything, like a comic book. A nice opening cutscene will tell you everything you need to know about the Phantom and his backstory, etc., just in case you're not familiar with this particular super fellow. What else is good about the game? Well, the music and voice acting get a thumbs up from me. Nice and cheesy, just the way I like my toasties. Like my Aunt Philomena's brothel, there's something here for all tastes. Beat-em-up fans, comic book fans, nostalgia whores. There's even an arcade mode. You can play as either the Phantom or his charming wife. You can even play the bloody thing in co-op. Absolutely delightful. Right, I've had enough being nice to this game. Let's talk about what I didn't like so much about the Phantom. To be honest, this is a pretty good video game. So there isn't much I don't like. I suppose if you want to be picky, you could say you played this kind of game 120 times before. So apart from the comic book aesthetic and starring a criminally underused superhero, there isn't much here in the way of brand bum spanking new. This also isn't a very long game. Pretty standard for these types of beat-em-ups, but like I said, you can play as 2 characters. There is a co-op mode. There's an arcade mode that unlocks when you finish the game. Granted, the game doesn't have the very attractive Mr. Billy Zane in it, so I suppose we could call that a flaw.
Oh, that's always a flaw.
Yes. But in all seriousness, dear viewers, this is a fun little indie beat-em-up game. Nothing more, nothing less. Who knows? Maybe in 2040 we'll get a remaster / remake / adult movie parody of this video game.
What?
Therefore, I declare that the Phantom is very good. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, my review for the Phantom. If you enjoyed this little review of mine, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't enjoyed it, well then, feel free to give me a thumbs down. But please remember the single most important thing I always tell you, dear viewer, and that is to always stay obsessed with gaming. Say goodbye, Bertram.
Goodbye, Bertram.
Say goodbye, Professor.
Yes, goodbye, Professor. So, Reuben, old chap, tell me more about this very attractive Mr. Billy Zane.
Well, he was in Titanic.
Oh, yes, and?
He was also the villain in the first Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, yes, and?
Professor, get your hand out of your trousers.
Are you still here? Oh, you must have really enjoyed this video then. In that case, you had better subscribe to the channel and check out our other content. Otherwise, you're a booby pants, and no one wants to be a booby pants.